Welcome to The Vault at 201 North Broadway, podcast for innovators and problem solvers talking all things small business, entrepreneurship, and workforce development.
What's it like moving to a new country and a new state for college? The two joining us today in the vault are fellow Battlin Bears, and I'm so excited to have them with us today to talk about what it's like to be a college student in Billings and to transition from college to intern to graduate, and then to working professional. Joining us today are Irene and Gabe. Welcome, my fellow Bears.
Hey there, Vault listeners. At Altana, we're more than just a financial institution. As a not-for-profit financial cooperative, our mission is simple. We always put people over profits. We're a judgment-free zone and want to help in good times and bad, because we get it. Life happens. Everyone's situation is different, and we tailor our approach to yours. In other words, we think outside the bank. Altana Federal Credit Union, the better banking alternative.
So we love knowing people's background stories. So, Irene, do we want to start with you?
Sure.
Gabe,
Mainly just
Irene?
your security questions that you would answer. Yeah,
my
like
mother's
yeah,
maiden name.
exactly.
first pet, first street
I
lived
grew up
on.
on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, first, thanks, guys, for having us on. We're so
Make sure
excited.
you mention your
We're
CV
excited.
too behind your credit
my
card.
CV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Social security
Zip
number. just all
codes.
these.
Yeah.
Got it. I'll run through that right now. Yes, thank you for having us. My name is Irene Ramirez, and I guess I've been here in Billings now for almost 8 years. But I grew up, and I don't say this very often anymore. I don't know how the audience feels.
It's okay.
I grew up in California.
You're our second one of the day.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I don't feel as lonely.
And I would have said your last name, by the way, in the intros, but to be honest, I didn't want to butcher them. So I think they'll just say their own last names and it'll be fine.
Mine's Americanized. We can just say Ramirez.
No, I love
You
it.
can recognize mine too if you want. Like, it's fine. I adopted Gabe.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, Gabe.
yeah, it's fine.
Yes, grew up in California in downtown Los Angeles. Picture what you think Los Angeles, and that's where I grew up. Very downtown. I like
never
to
been.
joke. I think it's home.
I want to go.
Yeah,
I've been to
it's a lot of fun.
Disneyland.
It's
We drove
bustling.
through LA to go to Disneyland.
There you go. So you've basically been. Yeah, you
I got to see where Fast and the Furious did their like little
Yes.
stunts
Yeah.
in those like little water areas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're called. but-
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We don't really have water in California. So.
I don't know. They
on
were
the
like,
beach.
you know what I'm talking about. The Fast and Furious. you
Okay,
know.
so you grew up in LA. You grew up in LA. You're an LA
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, city girl. I like to joke that I never really saw a tree before the age of like 15. Just very gray buildings, what you would expect from growing up in Los Angeles. It's a little weird to like be from there, quote unquote. I feel like everybody just goes there to like chase their dreams or whatever. But yeah, that's where my family grew up, and that's where I grew up, and that's where my parents still are at. So
Your parents are sweethearts.
yeah, thank
That's
you.
so fun. Gabe, what about you? Tell us. We know you're our international.
I am. So I was born in São Paulo, Brazil. Pretty much similar to LA, big city boy. Moved to the U.S. in 2016. I moved to Missouri at first. Lived in Missouri for 2 years in a boarding school.
Can you tell us, guys? I'm very curious of your story. When Irene, I was like quizzing her about you.
Yeah.
So
We want the full name
yeah,
too.
like
Full name?
yeah, full name, and then tell us like your thought process of how you got to Missouri from Brazil, like 2016, right? That I was just like about to graduate from college, so you're probably like way younger. So like, walk us
Okay,
through
so
that too.
full name, I'll say like with a Portuguese accent, I guess. So it'd be Gabriel Pereira Penha dos Santos.
See, I
Yeah,
would've butchered
I
that.
don't use the full name. In high school, I used to go by Gabe Penha, but it's spelled weird way. Nobody can pronounce it right. And then when I got to college, I just
Yeah.
adopted the last name. I never went by Dos Santos. It's just something I adopted once I got here because it was easier for people to say, honestly. That's why I also adopted the Gabe. Usually just Gabriel,
Yeah.
but I adopted. I don't mind.
Gabriel's not too bad. I feel like
Yeah. So the whole process of getting to Missouri, honestly, was a bit of my idea and my parents' idea. They kind of initiated that. I was 14 at the time, so that was the beginning of my freshman year, because in Brazil the school year is January to December. So
okay.
when we started talking about this, it was about February. And then they came up with the idea. I'm a basketball player, I play basketball for Rocky. And they, obviously I play basketball in Brazil as well, so they wanted to offer me that opportunity to come to the U.S., get proficient at English, keep my basketball career going. So we kind of talked about this. They were always supportive. They kind of initiated the talk, and I was sold like immediately. I was like, heck yeah, I want to move to the U.S.
But by yourself.
He's fearless.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
There
like
was,
that.
I was just doing different
And you
things
said at 14?
so,
I was 14, yeah.
Like, I don't know what grade I was even
that's
in.
a huge moment, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
you're young, you're still trying to figure yourself out. You've never been without your family, and here you are going to a completely different country.
Yeah.
It's not like you'd be like, I'm driving home, you know?
Yeah.
I miss
Yeah.
my parents.
I don't know why I was so into it. Like, I guess like the idea of it sounded way more exciting. And then like once like we started actually talking to organizations that did exchange programs and everything, things started to get more real. So you're like, oh shoot, like I'm going to be away for like a long time, or like, am I going to be going by myself? Is someone else going with me? So once we started getting into details with that and the organization started helping us out, we actually got a group of Brazilians. So I was the youngest. I was going to be a freshman starting in August. And then we had 2 sophomores, 1 junior, 1 senior. So there was 5 of us in total.
And did you know them all?
I knew one. He used to play basketball with me. And then...
What position were you? I have to know.
Or
do you play now?
Right now I'm a shooting guard. Collegiate level is a little more difficult, as you would imagine.
As I would imagine.
So even though I'm 6'2", height-wise, there's not much I can do down the
That's still pretty
paint.
tall,
So yeah, in Brazil, I honestly played wherever they need me. Obviously, I was like a younger age, so everybody's about the same height.
Yeah.
There's always someone a little taller, but
Before
like,
you guys hit your real growth spurts, which
yeah,
comes later.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of play wherever people needed me. Play for the same like club for 5-6 years until I went to Missouri. So the whole organization thing with the exchange, to be honest, they gave me 5 options, but they always emphasized that one school in Missouri. So I think they had some sort of connection with them, like some sort of deal.
Ulterior motive.
Yeah, that was something
We
there.
promised them a Brazilian.
Yeah, because like,
Correct.
so it was a military academy in Missouri, actually.
Oh, wow.
So,
Where's
Oh,
that,
wow.
Missouri?
Mexico, Missouri.
I've never heard of it.
Just
to
Like,
add
I would
its
know
layers
what
to
it
it.
is. I'm just like,
Yeah, it's a little town of
Brazilian
11.
going to Mexico in Missouri.
Yeah, a Brazilian going to Mexico in the U.S. That was the line. Sounds like a bad joke, but no.
yeah, no, it's great. Okay.
But yeah, so a little town, 11,000 people, was me and like 5 other Brazilian dudes. We kind of got led on into this school, military academy, only boys, in the middle of nowhere, Missouri. And then obviously after 2 years there, things got a little old for me. I learned a lot, obviously. Like up to this day, I can clean a rifle like nobody, shine my shoes.
Look at that Kelly over here.
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
like shine my buckle. I can remember the
Yeah.
cadence songs in my head still. It's a part of me that not many people know about, I say.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That kind of definitely taught me some discipline
Yeah.
for sure. But after 2 years there, kind of talked to my parents, decided to move on. I had a couple friends that had graduated. Was like the Brazilian group was like getting smaller and smaller, and I was like, I don't want to be the last one out.
Because, yeah, you were the only
Yeah, I was
freshman,
the
right?
youngest.
Baby
Yeah.
of the group.
Yeah, so I decided to look for a different organization that did the same type of work. And then initially, I was going to go to a school in Texas. I was going to go to Corpus Christi.
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
That's
that's
about it.
yeah,
That's
that's
where it
by
starts
that's
and
by the
ends.
beach. Like weather was
Yeah,
nice, like
yeah.
hot, not hot a year around, but like
But the
Texas.
hotter
bugs.
than here.
Yeah.
But the bugs.
Yeah, that is true.
So
but
you didn't go
never
there.
mind. So I didn't go there. So things were kind of set, and then eventually they couldn't find a host family for me down there. So we had to take a step back and then regroup, figured out other options. And then Billings Central was one of them. And then being a basketball player, the 3 previous years before I came to Central, they've been to the state tournament for basketball. They got second out 3 years. So it looked very appealing. They seemed like their program had a good history and they knew how to deal with the kind of stuff. So that sounded appealing. They had a host family already lined up. And then the only problem or issue that I was
winter.
thinking about was winter.
Did Missouri have a little bit of a winter?
They did, yeah, but here is definitely a little worse.
And then like Billings is like.
Were you
nicer
expecting
compared.
it? Like when you first came around, were you just like, this is terrible?
At first, I ain't gonna lie, my first year here, my winter was pretty rough. So I went to Billings Central, as you guys know. So I love Central, like I think was the best fit for me. But again, I was the new kid. I was trying to make friends and everything. And everybody at Central has been going to school
Since
together.
they were like
since
in
they were,
diapers, yeah.
So they always had like their little groups pretty much set. So like, even though I'm extremely outgoing, as Irene can vouch for that.
Yeah.
A little concerning sometimes, but I kind of struggled in the beginning just to find like a set group. I had like people I talked to every day, friends that I still talk to like since the beginning up to this date. But just finding that set group was a little hard in the beginning. But once that beginning period went by, everything was fine. And I also picked up skiing.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep me busy during the winter. Got me out of the house and not just inside with the blanket the whole time, you know. So that definitely
just
helped.
outside with a
And
really
then you
heavy
realize
coat.
that you can still get sunburn going down a hill.
I learned that the hard way, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That is
Never terribly, but I learned that the hard way, yeah.
Irene, what was
I learned
winter
it
like
the hard way as well.
Oh God, winter
for
was,
you
winter
because
was
you're from
horrible.
California.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I.
And what year did you come here? Because that'll help me gauge on what.
2015.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I only remember one instance in my childhood where I experienced anything cold, and that was like Christmas one year when I was 8, and it was hailing out, and we thought it was the coolest thing, so all his cousins went out and played in it because we were like
Yeah.
snow, it's amazing. So I had never experienced anything like that before, and I think I was pretty fortunate. I think those first couple winters were actually pretty mild.
They were,
yeah. So it wasn't too bad. My car was not ready for it. California made, 2-wheel drive,
Yeah.
rear wheel drive.
Oh God, that's
knock
the
on wood.
worst.
So far, I've been good. But
Wow.
it's I was not prepared. Nor did I guess I didn't really in my mind like mentally prepare myself either. I was just like, it'll be fine. I genuinely thought it would be. So it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that'll ever change.
No. I mean, even like growing up here my whole life, and it's way like weather in Billings compared to like Eastern Montana, vastly different. Like here's way better. Not gonna like where I grew up, it was like frigid, cold. But I still don't always. It's cold. I don't. It's fine, but yeah,
It's just uncomfortable.
it is.
Yeah.
I get the winter blues.
Yeah.
Like it's just so dark.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
never gets bright.
Yeah.
I would say I got pretty used to it. Like after those first year-ish, as I said, picking up skiing definitely helped.
Well, yeah, it helps to embrace it. I
You
did
just
not.
embrace it,
I did
yeah.
not.
Irene's like, it's a no.
No.
Yeah, and I enjoy it now. Let me tell you, like those morning practices for basketball when it's like -10 out, those are tough because
And
it's
it's
like
like you're
5:30 in the
getting
morning and you walk into the gym like
And it's
across Rocky
cold.
campus. Those are tough. So
Yeah.
maybe during that time specifically, I don't like it. But afterwards, when you get the chance to adapt a little and warm up, and like being outside is not too bad once you actually embrace it, I'd
Yeah.
say.
No thanks.
So you came in high school. You got to Billings through a cool kind of weird way.
Yeah.
You went to Central. You played basketball. Then you graduated. Yeah, from Central.
Yeah, I graduated in the year of 2020. So as we
Oh
know,
wow. Okay,
it
look
was
at
COVID
you.
What a
year.
character
Little
building
baby,
year.
Yeah.
Really? So okay. So I want to know from both of you guys because we really want to talk about like what's it like to move here, intern here, that kind of thing. How did you? Because you both went to Rocky. How did you come to those decisions, or even
how'd you
find
find
Rocky?
Rocky?
How
Yeah.
did you find Rocky? Even kind of like, how did you find Rocky?
Yeah. I found Rocky. It was time for me to graduate 2019 in high school. And I had no real idea about what I wanted to do. But I decided to follow one of my passions at the time. And weirdly enough, for a city girl, I was also a horse girl. And that kind of came out of nowhere because nobody in my family, immediate or extended, was like agriculturally inclined or anything.
Yeah.
So it was always really weird that I would beg my mom to drive an hour and a half out of town to go take riding lessons and do all that several times a week. God bless her. She lots of gas and time.
Thanks, Irene's mom.
Yeah, thank you, Mom. So I decided that that's what I wanted to pursue. And, Google is an amazing thing. I think it was like 8 or 10 schools in the country that had equestrian concentrations. And there wasn't anything in particular that I was interested in, but what piqued my interest was this therapeutic riding instruction program. And so was very passionate about helping people with physical or mental disabilities and using horses to help them out and to really bring them out of their shells and give them therapy, basically. And Rocky's program was the one that stuck out to me, and I had never really thought about Montana. I think even
Had you been to Montana at this point before?
No, I'd never really been anywhere outside of California. So it was a big step, and I think was one of the first kids, or I think family members at all, to really leave California for college or anything like that. So again, an anomaly in our family, and my parents were a little bewildered when I told them, hey, I'm going to Montana, but they were super supportive, and we took a visit out here and really felt right. It felt comfortable. It felt familiar, and the program was super interesting, and lots of girls for me to make friends with and stuff. So I just felt like it was the perfect opportunity. So that's really what brought me here. I completed an equine science minor at Rocky and stuck around for the people and.
So what else so you minored?
Yes.
And what did you major in?
Just business administration. I think after a while I decided that the agriculture industry wasn't for me, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and it was already like sophomore year of high school, almost junior year in college, so I didn't really want to end and not complete what I'd started. So I decided to stick it out and just do something that I thought would cover all my bases. So I did a business admin major and organizational leadership minor, and I think it's really prepared me well. I think those courses and the professors at Rocky really set you up for all kinds of success, really giving you the grand scope of things and connecting you all over Billings. So it just made it really an easy choice to stick around and to finish what I'd started.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I want to get into internships in a little bit, but let's hear.
Yes.
Because you graduated from
you tell
Central
us.
in 2020. What a year that was as a senior. That you don't get to do all those fun things that seniors probably normally get to do.
Yeah, so for me, it was definitely an interesting time because I remember when they first announced like the first COVID case in Montana was during the basketball state tournament. So I didn't even get to finish that my senior year of high school.
I remember they canceled those. They were just like, we're done.
Yeah, we were like halfway through. We were like in the semis or something. And
That was
I remember that morning they were like, because people were concerned about it, like we're hearing all those cases just going on everywhere. So everybody's like talking about it. So that morning they announced like, oh yeah, we have no cases. We're going to keep this going. And everybody was like, yeah, let's go. And then like 2 games later, they're like, yeah, unfortunately we got the first case in Montana. We're shutting down the whole tournament. And everybody was like,
They got that
okay.
across the state. I remember I felt so bad because I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine what that's like.
Yeah. So I didn't get to do a lot of like the fun stuff that Central does. Like our principal at the time was Shell Hanser.
Mm-hmm.
So he honestly worked with us a lot. And we still got a graduation. We got like a little smaller ceremony where only like family members were allowed, social distancing, the whole craziness, masks. So I thought he did a phenomenal job based on how crazy everything was. But obviously it wasn't like the original graduation, or at least like last semester was supposed to be. So we went through that, still had graduation. And then at that time, my little brother was at Central as well. So he was a freshman when I was a senior. So he was the only family I had here. With basketball, not even finishing the season, I was out for a couple games in the beginning too. Like that kind of messed up my recruiting. So the chance I had was Rocky. My coach contacted Bill Dracosen. He's the head men's basketball coach at Rocky. So they worked something out for me. That's where my family was. So like everything was pointing out at Rocky for me. So I was like, well, if it's meant to be, it's gonna be. So I just joined the team at Rocky. I just kind of accepted my final destination, I guess. Like if it's meant to be for me to be here, let it be, So that's kind of how I end up at Rocky.
And did your brother come because you were in Billings? Did he come here because, you were here?
Yeah, that's correct. So he pretty much was following my footsteps.
So he went to Missouri for a little while and can clean a gun really good.
Yeah, that's
Shine
funny. Yeah, so being the older brother, kind of just got to go on and figure out.
You did all the hard work.
All the hard work and what not to do. So when he first came, he came straight to Central. Like he got out, like he knew what he was supposed to do. He knew like what he's going to struggle with. Because obviously I told him everything. Like, not even like no filter, like literally everything. Like maybe sometimes like when I talk to some people, I'm like, oh yeah, it was good. Or like, this was bad. But like, I don't say all the details. I told him like all the details for like everything. So he knew what to expect. So he definitely got the good end of the deal in this one.
Absolutely. You did the nice older brother thing.
Yeah. So he did all 4 years at Central, loved it. And right now he's probably going to Grand Canyon University in Arizona.
Wow.
He didn't adapt to the cold as much as I did, didn't embrace it, and didn't want to try skiing or anything. He really enjoyed the heat, so that's where he's going. And I hope he's ready, because I know they've been struggling with the heat lately.
Yeah,
like over 110 degrees for the last like 20 days or something.
He's going to be like, gosh, Montana doesn't seem so bad now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Until
see.
winter comes, and then he's like, this is terrible.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll definitely have an excuse to go to Arizona now. So
There you go.
it's not terrible, Like, yeah, I'm losing like the family member I have here, but
He's still in the U.S.
Are you a senior now?
I'm a senior now, yes. I honestly could be done with my degree this year. I'm also a business major. Out of high school, or before COVID hit, I was thinking about hospitality management. And then COVID hit, the whole industry pretty much shut down. Airline industry shut down. Everything shut down. I didn't even go home. That was the first year I didn't go home during the summer.
So, and had you been going home in the summers every year since you got here?
Yes, since I got here, with the exception of that year and this year, because I'm working at Altana. So, but yeah, I was all craziness and everything, but again, ended up working out for me. So.
Cool. So you're a business major, which will be great, even if hospitality, because you're like very social, outgoing. So
something like
all
that.
All of your business stuff will be great. So how did you guys, because you both interned at Altana, Irene, you now work there full time. Can you guys talk to me a little bit about what that was like as a student? Because as a business major at Rocky, and I think a lot of degrees really anywhere, you need an internship to graduate. You need at least 3 internship credits. You can take up to way more if you want. What was that like for you? Like, how'd you guys figure that out?
Honestly, the person that led me towards Rocky, it was pretty much Irene and our professor, James Smith.
I love James Smith. I hope he listens. I'll make sure and send it to him.
Shout out James.
Shout out James, yeah.
Was he yours too?
He was. Yeah, he's the reason I'm at Altana too.
Yeah. He's also a board member at Altana, so
He was a board member at Big Sky, pre-me being here, but he was great.
But he's honestly, so he invited Irene to pretty much promote what she experienced as an intern. It was actually the second time I listened to Irene speak about the internship.
We need interns.
Please.
Yeah. The first time was my sophomore year of college. So like I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about that right now. Like,
but you remember.
But I remember, yeah. So like when she came the second time was my junior year, so it was like last year. And
Was my talk better the second time? I feel like I was really nervous the first year.
It's
I'd say
nerve-wracking
so. I
talking to
think-
college students.
They're so
Or like
intimidating.
high school, I'm just like, I would rather do anything.
Please.
Yeah.
I thought I did a good job both times actually. The first time my class was a little bigger, so
I do remember
You
that.
scared them all
Yeah.
away, Irene.
I know. I was like, dang it. Nobody wants to
Probably
work
like
with
a
me.
general class or something. I don't know.
yeah. But James opened that space for Irene to just promote Altana and what she did, and it sounded appealing to me. She was like, "Oh, you get to meet all sorts of people and
Drive
you
around
get
an ice
travel
cream
around,
bus.
yeah, an ice cream bus, and maybe eat some as well." So I was like, "Hey, I
Hopefully
like-
you've gotten to do that, I think.
yeah." I was like, "Well, I like meeting new people and eating, especially ice cream." So I was like, "Sounds great."
This seems right up my alley.
I don't know
This
your
has
audience.
checked all my boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously it's obviously like good networking because you meet people from like all over the place, honestly, that do all sorts of stuff. People approach you at the bus super frequently.
Yeah.
I also had to learn a lot about just like the credit union history itself, and like people always come to me like, "Oh, what's your interest rate like?" So I have to be up to date on that too. It's not just like the events, and
Yeah,
There's
they
like a
probably want
lot-
to know if they're wanting to
yeah.
like buy a car, buy a
there's a lot
house.
more
Yeah.
to just the bus. Like,
Yeah, you really read that line of like community outreach, and it's all fun and networking and really selling. It's sales basically.
yeah.
But then it's also the numbers and the that hard information and stuff. So I don't know. You're doing really good.
Irene, how did you land? Because you were you were the first.
Yes.
You were
Oh God.
the first
The
intern
I actually really
intern.
for
appreciate
the
this.
bus.
I really
mean,
appreciate
like,
she was the first
do you
one.
think about that ever? Like, it was you who started. Like, Megan did the bus,
Yeah.
which I want you to talk about.
Yeah.
But like, you were the first one. So like now everyone after you will be because you kind of set that.
I did
stuff
all the
up.
hard work, and then everybody else.
Yeah, so
just
you know like
come
how
in.
I did all the hard
Yeah,
work for
do
my
you know what
brother?
I mean?
Irene did that for me at Altana.
Aw, it's like full circle.
Yeah,
I mean, I
pretty
don't know who did that for you. But
She
Someone.
went through like all the hardships and stuff, and then like every time I'm going to do something, she's like, "Okay, I gotta tell you this before you do this because that's how I handled the first time it happened. It can happen again, so that's what you do." So like, I'm actually very thankful that she went through that. It probably sounded terrible or like she was going through it at the time, but I'm thankful. I don't know how she feels about it. I'm sure she learned a lot from it, but I'm very thankful for that.
People get very angry when there's no more fudgesicles.
Yes, terrifying.
Or Huckleberry ice cream sandwiches.
Oh, or the Huckleberry.
That's
ice
so
cream
We do our
toasters.
best to stay strapped, but man, Wilcoxon's is making it a little hard on us sometimes. Love them though. If they're listening, please.
They're too
keep selling
popular.
to us. Okay. Well, I'm mini history on the bus. Altana is super involved in the community. Credit unions in general are super involved with their membership, and of course giving away their time, their talents in the form of volunteerism, and then of course in their services. So generally, credit unions are very accessible to anybody who's having a hard time or really needing that extra attention to build their finances, and so. To keep in that momentum, Altana decided that it needed another way to get into the community and to really connect with its membership. So thus was born this idea. Megan Kangaika is my direct manager. She's our chief experience officer at Altana, and just had the coolest idea. And in full transparency, it is an idea that we borrowed from another credit union.
But all the best ideas come from borrowing from,
Right.
yeah.
Sharing is caring.
It
Don't
is.
recreate the wheel if you don't have to.
Yeah, and honestly, credit unions, there's like, okay, you joke, that credit unions are competition, whatever. No, we're cooperatives. We love working with each other to make a difference. So sharing that idea, they were very kind to do with us. And so Megan did the hard work, and she found this cute little, honestly, perfectly lime green VW bus in Washington on Craigslist. And so our VP of IT went down there with a little trailer and buzzed it back over here to Montana.
And other duties as
and
assigned.
other yeah,
Is what
exactly.
that falls into.
We're finding that this bus really makes us stretch our
Other duties
talents.
as assigned.
But it needed a lot of love. It needed mechanical work, of course, which we found out and we worked through in that first summer that it launched, which was 2019. But we loved on it. A lot of local people did work on the design. Shout out Patrick Parker, who always rocks out a really great design. He just did a second rendition for us,
Very
which
cool.
is super beautiful. We love it. It's amazing. The wrap was done locally. The welding was done locally. We have, of course, a local mechanic. So a lot of local love, for lack of a better word, has been put into that thing. And yes, 2019 was our inaugural summer. That was the summer after I had graduated. So I graduated in May. Still needed some internship credits, which Rocky was kind enough to let me walk and still complete those credits afterward. But in my senior year, James Smith, shout out James. He was my one of my professors in those last semesters for me, and of course he was on the board, is on the board for Altana, and very close with Megan, and she put out the word that they needed an intern, and I don't know what it was about me maybe that felt like I was a good option, but he handed me the little internship sheet, the details, and I said, cool, I need an internship. It was at a financial institution, which was really, honestly, a little daunting for me. I'm not really a numbers person, so the second that I saw that it wasn't a numbers really driven opportunity, I was like, heck yeah, let's apply, let's see what happens. Yeah. And applied, met Megan, and they thankfully and graciously trusted me with that first summer. And it was tough.
Because I mean, can you walk us through like what that was like? Because it was the first year of the bus. It just got wrapped.
Yes, it was.
You're driving it around.
Yeah. And it was, I guess I'm still personally a little fuzzy on like when they first bought the bus, like that whole timeline. Was it, I'm assuming it was like early 2018, and then they did a bunch of work on it and stuff. And, no one had like taken it out for a spin. We hadn't done any events yet. It was brand new. And nobody had, gone through the motions or in that regard. So it was really up to me to take this vehicle and figure it out. And I totally couldn't have done it by myself. I mean, like Megan was there with me as often as she could be, because it was daunting. It was scary. And then of course we had our VP of IT and a couple other great people who are great with cars on staff that were following close behind in case something went down, because she is 40 something years old. It's a 1979 VW bus. So she still does need a little love. And we, realized that we needed to rebuild the engine in there somewhere and do a lot of other things that I am not well versed enough to talk about. But had to work out the kinks, had to figure out scheduling, packing the freezer in there, buying from Wilcoxon's, the frequency of which to do so, how to guesstimate, events size and do inventory, and as well just let people know that it was available and out there. So we didn't really say no to a lot of events that first year.
I mean, I remember you coming to the pub station mural, remember?
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, and I think the mural or something, but I don't remember. Because when we took you back, remember we drove back? And Yeah, it was. This is a funny joke. Like, was it Austin?
Yeah. He closed the door to the VW. And the mirror, the side view mirror, like shattered and fell.
And he was like mortified, and I'm like,
so it was just like one of those like things, like stuff still was not 100% on this bus, but we were having so much fun. It was the middle of summer, so it was like, how do we deal with not overheating this thing? We still did, but how to work through that, how to get through it, and kind of it was really a test in I don't know what the word is, but
being flexible, maybe?
Well, adaptability and major positivity, because it was like we were pulling up to an event. I just broke down 6 times on the way here, but I'm still happy to be here, and we're going to do this event, and nobody's going to know that that's
and someone's going to tow me when everyone's gone.
Yeah, and I'm going to wait half an hour until our VP of IT can get here and trailer me out of here. So that did happen, but we made it through, and it was a blast that first summer. Like I said, we didn't say no to practically any event, and we might have, suffered the consequences of that a couple of times. But it was important to us that our membership, our communities, even people we didn't serve, knew that we were out there and that we were excited to connect with them and do whatever it took to let them know what credit unions are all about.
And pass out free ice cream.
And pass out free ice cream.
Really
I mean,
cool.
who doesn't love that?
No.
But it's not anything like the region. We don't have that in this region, which was really cool.
Yeah. So that's how that went. And then, so this is our 5th summer out with it. Last year we did have 2 interns, Philip and Stephanie, who are also Rocky grads. I like hate to say that. It's not like we're purposely picking Rocky grads. They just continue to impress us and apply for this internship. So, but shout out to Rocky for putting out great students and having those connections for us.
So how are you liking it on the bus?
I actually enjoy it quite a bit. It's fun to drive.
Better say that.
There's definitely not
Can I say
pressure.
how I really feel?
Yeah.
Off the record.
No, I honestly, I enjoy driving it quite a bit. Obviously, Irene went through it. It hasn't broken down on me yet. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely enjoying that. Thanks, Irene. But yeah, just getting out there in the community, just talking to all sorts of different people, and honestly, like every time you show up, nobody's like upset with you.
They're
So
like, you're handing me free ice cream. I'm
That's
so mad at
very
you.
pleasant. Like the worst reaction I had was like someone being upset because, as you said, there was no fudge bars.
There's no fudge bars.
You're like, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have that, but I have like 5 other options. Like, can I make up for you somehow?
No.
Just the fudge. Cool, but you like, how did that, so you just need internship credits, but then you're saying you're here on behalf of Altana, Irene. How did that work out?
So the intern failed.
The intern, yeah.
Which
We
I
did
mean that in like a
too.
nice way.
Yeah. Like
They just hired you on.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it? What is like a foster fail?
Foster
It's like-
fail.
Yes, I'd completed my credits that I needed to graduate, and ended up interning with Altana 2019 from May through November. November 1 was my official hire date, and they liked me enough. I think I did a good enough job. I was in need of a job, and didn't really have any plans otherwise about what to do or where to go. So had already built a great relationship with my coworkers. I love my coworkers. They're so fun.
You got a good little team over there.
They're so fun. So it just made sense to continue on. I mean, there was no reason to, again, put in all that work that we had built, and this routine and this project that we'd started, and I didn't feel like letting that go. And I was grateful enough that they agreed that I was a good fit, and they hired me. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I
Here I
love that. That's really fun.
What's your thought process after you're finished with your internship?
So for me, things are a little more complicated because I'm not a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
So after I graduated from college, I have 1 free year to work under something related to business, which is my degree. And then after that 1 year expires, I can either go back home, I can go back to school, get a master's, or the company that I'm working for sponsors me and I get like a work visa. And that can last an X amount of years. You can really work with your company and whatnot. Honestly, I have to do some more research this semester because it's my last year, so I gotta get more details on that. But honestly, I told Irene this before. Like, I went to Altana kind of with the mindset like, okay, I'm gonna meet new people, learn new things, and make some money. Summer job mindset.
Totally.
And I really pretty much fell in love with like their work environment just because, as she said, like she loves her coworkers. Like I love my coworkers too. Like that environment is just nice to be at. Like when you get there, nobody's just like, oh gosh, like you go good morning, you're like morning, and like not enthusiastic at all. Like someone, like when they walk by, like, oh, hey, good morning, how's it going? Like they show like some level of like energy, you know, and that's pleasant to be around. We also do like all sorts of like little things that make a difference, at least in my view. For example, before 4th of July, we had like a staff barbecue on the 3rd. So we literally just grill burgers behind our branch. And then we all just got burgers and dogs and we sat down and ate together. Like that's something so little that makes such a huge difference. So even though, like, as I said earlier, I was thinking about going to hospitality management and still had like in a sort of mindset going to Altana, I am definitely rethinking the possibility now and maybe hopefully follow Irene's footsteps. Who knows?
We didn't even rehearse that on the way here. That was so good.
That's so fun.
Here's your gold star.
You get to leave an hour early.
So for both of you, I want to switch so we've talked about internships, college, but you both live in Billings and you've been here for a little bit. So what are some things that you really like about Billings that you think that if it's maybe a current resident or a newcomer, someone that's new to our community, what are things that you like?
Yeah.
Not being from here.
I love, well, okay, I have to think about it in comparison with California and Los Angeles, just because that's all I know.
We definitely have more going on all the time, huh? Here in Billings.
But it's okay that like the difference, like I noticed the difference, I gotta admit it took me a little bit to understand that flow here and really figure out how to work with it. But I think that Billings is a great place to get started, to really figure out who you are, to insert yourself into all these cool things that are starting, or to start something yourself. Like especially here with Big Sky Economic Development, there's nothing you can't do or start without your guys' help. And if more people knew that, I think more people would be super excited and have this mindset that, okay, maybe, Billings doesn't have it yet, or maybe it's just barely starting, but I can be a part of that growth. And I think that's such an exciting thing because, in California, everything is already done. If you have an idea, someone's probably already done it. If you have anything that you're looking for, you can find it, but it's going to take you like 2 hours to drive to it through traffic, and it's only like 6 miles away. So I have to appreciate just the opportunity that is here in Billings. And even, I don't even know the extent of what Billings has been through and grown through in the last 10, 20 years. I imagine it's a lot. From what I hear, it's been a lot. So just to know that in that time that things have changed and evolved and grown and people are still excited about continuing that, like that's such an exciting thing. And I don't think that's a hard thing to like tell my friends who are like still back home. Like I can't be like, it's a hard thing to sell.
They're excited here.
Yeah, they're excited. Like that doesn't
like,
translate
oh, okay.
well. Yeah, that doesn't translate well. But it is, you have to visit, you have to experience, you have to insert yourself with a local to really understand that. So that's my favorite thing. The people here are really friendly. The first time somebody waved at me driving by, that was the most bizarre thing I've ever done.
The Montana wave?
Yeah,
from the steering wheel?
Yeah.
Like the one
I was like, what's wrong with my car? Something's like, he's trying to flag me down. Something.
What did I do to offend them?
I know.
The more rural you go, the less fingers are. It's like the pointer finger,
gets cooler.
like a wave.
Yeah.
It's like an accent. It's like an accent around.
To add on to what Irene was saying, yeah, it's a great place to start something. But also it's a place where if you just take the initiative and step up and like try to engage in stuff, you can be ahead of like so many people as well. So you don't have to start from ground zero. You can start a couple steps forward. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely stealing this quote from like one of our Visit Billings ambassadors. I had like a little summer intern institute meeting earlier this week, and we got the chance to talk to 3 Billings ambassadors. They were great. But one of them definitely says something about just taking the initiative, engaging the community. And I'm definitely stealing this quote from her, but it makes so much sense. And I definitely see that by just engaging, trying to get out there, talking to people, getting involved with all sorts of different businesses, you can just start ahead of so many people, and that gives you confidence, especially like for me, like I'm about to graduate from college in like less than a year. Like that brings you confidence when you're starting your job. That brings you confidence when you're trying to start your own business. So like you already have that network, that community that's like backing you in case something goes wrong. And obviously you don't rely for that. You have to work for it, but it's comfortable and it's something that like protects you in a way. And, like you have that safety net.
Yeah.
It's a community that cares about you.
And I would always think that like people would be so stingy with their contacts, with their advice, and nobody here is. You can approach anybody or talk to anybody, or that whole thing about being like 3 people from your goal or whatever, like that's so real here in Billings. And that was something that took me forever to understand and take advantage of. I think the sooner that people do take advantage of that, Billings is their oyster, and every door opens up for them. And it's just so nice that people aren't stingy with that. It's such a nice feeling.
I love that you bring that up, because in what I do is I'm in the Small Business Development Center, because I don't know if I ever told Gabe that, but I tell clients that all the time. I'm like, hey, if you got this business idea and someone else is doing something similar to it, just go have a conversation with them. And they're so scared to just reach out and ask. But then when they finally give in, they're like, oh my God, we had one person who was like, they like gave me their P&Ls. And they were like, I was just so surprised. I went in to just have a coffee meeting with them, and they were like, here's our financials. Like, here's what you can anticipate. And they were like, I was just so baffled about how much they were willing to share. And I'm like, the one thing is that if they can stop you from doing something that they had to hurdle over, then they will. Like, they'll talk you through it. They'll give you that advice. They'll give you the time of day. They'll be your biggest supporter. They'll mentor you. You just have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what a good thing for Billings in general. Like, forget about on the individual level. That's how you make a city and a place grow. And so the fact that people are just like, whether all of Billings has gotten together and decided that was their strategy, like, I don't know, but it's happening. And like, that's the way that you invest in your community and that you keep a place growing. So I'm glad to see that is happening.
I would say even Montana has that vibe.
Yeah.
Obviously, especially Billings, since you're here. And I feel like we're growing different ways compared to like Bozeman, Missoula. And like, I feel like people that are here are usually like, they know that Billings has that vibe of like engagement and kind of helping each other. Nothing against Bozeman and Missoula, but Billings is just different.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say. And definitely, I feel like it's a great, it's weird for me. Like, obviously I'm from São Paulo, Brazil, but I don't know, like Billings and feels more like home at this point, because I've been here for so long and people have been so nice. And I don't know, like my life is here essentially. Yeah. And I cannot see myself really moving away, at least for now, which is good.
I always
We're
like
happy
to do
to
this.
keep you.
So what you're saying is you're better off in Billings.
There you go.
It is fun though. I think Billings, people say it and it's kind of cheesy, but it's so true. Like, Billings is like a big small town.
Yeah.
It's Montana City, and I think that's what makes it Montana City. It's like a big small town, and we get to define what does that city in Montana look like, feel like. We're not like any other city. We're not like a LA, a New York, a Chicago. We're just different.
Really?
Which is cool and exciting. I mean, it still takes us forever. But think of like the hours. Like, if you spend 2 hours in a car, you're like a chunk across the state, not just like a couple of cars. Yeah. So it's been so much fun having you guys. We're going to take a quick break for a sponsor message and then jump into some rapid fire questions.
Thank you to Big Sky Economic Development for supporting the Vault at 201 North Broadway. Big Sky Economic Development provides leadership and resources for business creation, expansion, retention, new business recruitment, and community development.
All right, welcome back. We are going to jump into our rapid fire questions, and I will go ahead and get started. What's one thing that you do to relax or de-stress?
Walk around Liberty and Vine.
We love that.
I was just there yesterday. Yeah, so do I.
I would say probably some sort of trail as well. I'm pretty outdoorsy, more than I should have growing up in a big city. São Paulo has over 12 million people, so I don't know where I got that from, to be
It's
honest.
just a little bit of people.
Yeah, a little bit of people.
Nature boy.
Just like Irene doesn't know where she got her horse thing from. I don't know where I got I don't know where I got my outdoorsy from. Like, I don't know. I always been I always mountain biking, whatever. So definitely some sort of trail.
I love that. That's fun.
I
Okay.
love it.
That's kind of generic. I'm sorry, but that's
No,
what I
it's
got
good.
for you now.
No,
that's good.
And
And, you
I
know,
like the shopping because I'm like,
The Billings Trailnet is working really hard, and they've done amazing things to build up our trail system right around Billings. So there's plenty of trails, and I'm glad that you're out there using them.
And it's pretty, yeah. Okay, so my question is, what's one piece of advice that has made a large impact on your life?
For me, don't be scared to talk to people.
Yeah, mine too.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Which is harder. I would say it's harder for me because I don't want to talk to anybody.
I take this to
Oh,
heart,
are you
honestly.
pretty? Do you find yourself introverted?
Very painfully, yes. Yeah.
And
Until you know me,
I'm-
and then I can't shut up.
I was like, I don't get that from you.
I don't get
I had
that
an in though. Carly introduced us, so I feel like that gap just kind of we
was
just went
fine.
fine, and then we bonded over ice cream.
There you go.
I'm the complete opposite. I'll talk to anybody, honestly. It's a bad thing when it comes to like me remembering names because I'm terrible at it. So like
You meet so many people. How are you supposed to keep them straight?
yeah. So that's one problem I have. If somebody that has like a name that has a name that it's already in my name bank, it helps a lot.
My name bank, I like it.
a little trick I tried to do, like I tried to repeat their name. So like if Marcel comes like, hey, I'm Marcel, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, hey, Marcel, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
I'm Gabe. Like I
that's
repeat
helpful.
their name, so like it just sticks.
I'm gonna. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie House Bunny.
Marcel.
She goes,
Okay, well, I need to clearly watch that clip.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm actually terrible
Gabe and
watching
I are on,
movies.
like,
Oh, so basically it's this girl. I won't go into the background of the movie, but it's this girl, and how she remembers people's names is she repeats it back, but she does it in this voice. So it'd be like, Gabe, and instead of being like, oh hey Gabe, it's like, oh Gabe.
There you go, new trick.
Exactly what I thought of. Yeah.
It's a very different trick. I'm like, I have to remember where they're from. Like, I'll ask, like, oh, like, where are you from or something? Because then I, like, can
Context.
associate them with that.
Well, that's for me because I'm not from here. That's the first thing like I memorize, so I can be like, oh, this person is from somewhere, like I don't know, Kalispell, Missoula, sometimes from out of the country because Rock has a lot of international students.
A lot of
and
Europeans.
Yes,
Swedes.
and yes.
We know
shout out
that's
to
a
the-
ski team.
shout out to the ski team, yeah.
Go ski team.
National champs, go Bears. But again, as I talk to everyone, okay, this person's from Norway, this person's from Spain, this person is from Colorado. I don't know. That's how I remember, but the name just kind of
It slips
Goes
out because you're
away.
like, I'm remembering where they're from, and then the name's like.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, you're both from two different areas, and I'm a huge foodie, so I always want to know what's your favorite food from back home?
From back home. Well, we have a little restaurant, not so little, but we have a restaurant in town, Carver's. That's just the classic Brazilian barbecue.
Oh, here
No.
in Billings.
Yeah,
That
in
Oh,
one.
you
Billings.
mean that
Oh.
one? I meant from like home.
Well,
Oh, but
that's like, I mean, they style.
But it'd
they
be close
style.
to what you were
yeah,
looking
like
for.
a Rhodesia style. Like they come with the sword.
Yeah.
the
Do you
meats
feel
and-
it's really pretty authentic?
I'll say it's pretty authentic. Yeah. It would never taste like back home. I'm sorry, but but it's pretty close. I would say. Not sponsored by Carver's, by the way.
I love
But
it.
it could be.
Could be, but I've been there, and I adios. Just saying.
Okay.
But
But you are
Yeah.
open to it, is what you're saying.
yeah, of course, always Brazilian food has my heart. I'm a big foodie guy. You can ask Irene. I'm always eating.
Always.
He's
Even
just
like
telling me the elaborate lunch he made himself. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
he's
want
the
to hear all
first-
about
I
it.
think he's the first person on staff to like use our kitchen at our Heights branch. Like he's like frying up steak and like doing. I'm like, nobody ever eats here. What are you doing?
yeah. No, today's lunch was steak potatoes with arugula salad with
Yum.
burrata and grilled peaches.
These foreign kids are built
I know
different.
what I'm
love
saying. I'm
like grilled peaches with burrata, and then you have over
weekends
arugula. That
for
is really
dinner.
good.
No.
During the
And-
week, no way.
I
Yeah.
love that. I'm coming to the Altana branch for lunch. Okay,
So
Kayla will be
today
there.
today was leftovers, but I cooked steak and potatoes at the office before. Our VP of marketing like walked into the kitchen. She was like, "You're using the kitchen?" And I was like, Yeah.
Well,
Isn't that
I was
what
like,
why?
it's a
why
full
not?
functioning kitchen.
Like, yeah.
Is it not allowed? And she was like, no, I love it.
Love it.
Thank you. I was like, you're welcome, I guess.
She's like, okay, tomorrow's tri-tip.
Yeah, I'm just hungry, man. I'm just trying to make some food. But yeah, Carver's definitely a great place to eat. I just like food. Like, there's not anything that I don't really like, but Brazilian food just circles back and just brings me back, you know.
Here, I'll tie it this way. What's the dish your mom makes that you miss the most?
Oh boy.
Oh God, I'm gonna out my mom. She doesn't cook.
I would say like the first meal I usually get when I go home. Just the base is always rice and beans,
Okay.
and then I always get cassava flour. It has multiple different mandioc, yuca, cassava. Like, it's all the same thing. It's like a root.
Yes, I love the cassava flour chips.
Yep, that
Yep.
too. Yeah, so it's fried cassava. I always get that, and then some sort of protein. Usually, it's just like a steak. Honestly, just how my mom makes them, and then some sort of salad. Usually lettuce, tomatoes, just like the basic stuff. So
Nice.
that's probably the first meal I get almost every time I go home.
You're
So,
like,
yeah.
Mom, steak.
Mm-hmm.
Irene?
That, and then my mom actually. Sorry,
No, what else did she make?
And
I'm
I-
curious.
I'm very invested in this.
I am
I know
invested
it too.
too.
Okay, what's the other thing? We're listening.
Nah, my mom makes it all, to be honest. Like, she bakes, she cooks. God bless her soul. But she makes all sorts of cakes too.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
today, on the way here, we actually stopped at City Brew and got like a banana bread, and they really made me crave like her banana cake. That's
Oh.
just something that I literally was craving on the way here. So I'll probably text her the recipe or something. Let's see what I can do during this weekend.
There you go. Be like, Mom, please. I need
Yeah.
it.
I need it. I need to make it.
All right, Irene. You don't have to do for Mom. You can just do
I
in
shouldn't
general.
have outed my mom like that. She's gonna listen to this.
I love you, Irene.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
What do I gotta say? Let's see. California cop out answer is In-N-Out. Do I think it's like the best burger ever? No, but it's like I have to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
my soul doesn't feel right. But locally, we have this deli, Hacienda Deli. They make the biggest sandwiches ever, and they're delightful and so amazing. Best bread, best meat, like everything. So Hacienda Deli, shout out to them. And then I feel like I should say Mexican food at some point. We do always do tamales at Christmas.
Oh, that's yummy.
We do.
You a seafood person? Because you're right there. Do you eat seafood?
Love fish tacos.
I love fish tacos,
Yeah,
yeah.
especially down in San Diego, man. There's nothing like it. And then in Koreatown, there's this little ice cream shop because it's ice cream. Why not?
Yeah.
It's called Somi Somi, and they do those cute. I don't know what they're called. But like, there's like a Korean name for them, and they're those little like fish-shaped cones.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen them. And then ice cream. And my favorite is their black bean ice cream. And I don't know if they do it anymore. I haven't been in a very long time, but that's my favorite ice cream
Okay.
there from
Interesting.
them.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's all.
If I ever come across a black bean ice cream, I will
Well,
try
think
it
of
just
you.
for you.
Please do.
Okay.
I feel like Big Dipper or somewhere should do like a black bean ice cream if they haven't already.
Yes, yeah.
They do a lot of the specialties.
They do some different
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
Message them from
Yeah.
Altano's.
Be like, hey,
Well, guys, thank you so much.
It's been so fun
It's been a
having
ton
you.
of fun. Before we end today, where can people find you?
any Altana branch. We also do, we're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. What else are we on? LinkedIn. But Altana_FCU is the best way to reach us. Both of us answer the DMs. So if you ever just want to say hi or whatever, we are excited to talk to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for joining. You can find the resources and tools mentioned in today's episode at thevault201.com. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe and share with a friend.
Thank you to the Small Business Development Center for sponsoring The Vault at 201 North Broadway. The Small Business Development Center provides you with free one-on-one counseling, business plan assistance, marketing research, financial projection assistance, and more to small businesses.